We're here today at the University of Washington to talk about content strategy beyond the screen. We're really starting to think about the evolution of content strategies. If content strategy is version 1 and UX strategy is version 2, then where we're headed is perspective strategy, which is really thinking about all the elements that are in a virtual reality experience.
One of the driving motivations for us to think about today was this notion, our program, our graduate program, our students, our graduates are all thinking about content and storytelling from a professional communication point of view. And especially with the technologies that you guys work on and the ones that you experiment with, Evan, the bigger question is whether content itself is going to change or whether we're going to need content the way we used to, because this is not necessarily content. And one of the words we're going to play with today a bit, you'll hear it from Andrea Zeller especially, is are we moving from content strategy to something more contextual or perspective based? That it's the user in a situation that is not necessarily tied to a device anymore, but tied to where they are in real life, wherever they may be, because this technology will engage with them in a seamless way. And so it isn't about the content that's thrown at them, it's more about their position, their time, their location, and what can serve them in those situations.
We are early, but I think that this is the perfect time where we need to get into this now. If you try any, say like Oculus Rift, if you try the HTC Vive, one of these VR headsets, put it on, you'll be like, oh my God, this is it. This is where we are going. It's insane. I mean, I put this on the first time, I was like, well, this is unbelievable. This is a much more, a much easier way to interact with technology. Much easier than like using a keyboard and mouse and just clicking. It's not intuitive. Actually being within that environment is much more natural.
Yeah, I think presence obviously is super important, but to make it more than a transient thing, agency is really important. And what that means is that through some act of body or intentionality, the user has an ability to change that experience. And so for me, agency is what locks in and sustains presence and lowers maybe some of the technical requirements to achieve presence, because once you have agency, your brain tends to do the rest.
I'm here today at the University of Washington, and we're here to talk about VR and AR and IoT. And we're really looking for students to, open their perspective on what's capable and what's possible. And one of the things I'm here to focus on is the power of voice and how easy and frictionless it is for customers to use their voice to interact with technology. And we really want to encourage the content strategists of the future to think about what those concepts are, what those restrictions are, and really more importantly, leverage what's useful. And so we talk about IoT, the Internet of Things, but really we're focused on the Internet of useful things, right? How do we make these things more useful? And voice is something that we have found has been extremely successful in making things more useful for our customers. Begin our demo.
I think I'm ready. Please be careful in there.
Whew, I'm a little bit nervous. All right. Begin our talk.
Hi, Noel. Thanks for bringing me to the University of Washington. Forgive me if I take a little longer than usual. I am running on a mobile hotspot. Oh, I really like the light gray tablecloths.
Actually, they're white.
It's hard to tell in this light. Sorry about that. I am still excited to be here.
Let's get started.
Okay, let's do this. 1, 2, 1, 2, mic check. Yo, yo, yo. Here we go. Bring the hype. Let's build something awesome.
Bring the hype, yo. So I built that when I got here. So it took me about 20 minutes to create what we call conversational little dialogue, something fun. We can build them, you can build them very, very easily. I don't need this. I'm used to having only one mic, but this place rocks as far as mics are concerned.
I think what's really important about VR is to move from the conceptual to the tangible as quickly as possible. And so the difference about the way this event is structured is you're going immediately from the framework to the implementation of the framework and really running into some of those constraints that we spoke about. And because it's done in small teams, you're getting an immediate back and forth and reverberation of those ideas. And that type of sketching, iteration, back and forth is exactly what we do in the VR design process day to day. And so by doing it immediately after the transmission phase, I think it's a super powerful way to lock in ideas and just to get people doing rather than talking. Less yammering, more hammering.
So in addition to the amazing guest speakers that we had, we also got down to the nitty-gritty and actually worked through an exercise. It was just the most amazing experience to look out at the room filled with 12, 14 tables with everyone around them just collaborating, thinking through these real-life problems and how we could apply virtual reality or Amazon Echo experiences to them to really solve real user problems.
This dugout canoe exploring the river, and everything is pristine.
At this
you
point,
see
everyone
healthy
should be
flora
on
and
part
fauna.
2, so you should be mapping out the steps of your journey. So I put
Flora
up
and
an example
fauna,
up here.
Native American
So you
families
should
on
have
the
already
riverbanks
defined your
playing
experience
and washing
and filled out part 1.
I know I've been to a lot of events over the years, and I know that it's always great to have the experts on stage to download the stuff that you should be aware of and you want to get out after that. But the participatory part of today is hugely important because fundamentally what we want to have at the end of this day is a body of work to share with the world. So this is the very accelerated version of an academic article that we're putting together, and you all here today are co-authors of that. And so that's why what happens after you hear from our experts and then we apply it to this scenario is so fundamentally important that you stay and work with us on this and ask those questions and bring your specific thinking and expertise to that as well. Because the way you guys do your jobs now is fundamentally going to shift over the next 3 to 5 years if these technologies take root the way we think they're going to be taking root. But as you'll hear today, it's still almost speculative. And so what's most important is that we ask the right questions along the way and help develop that body of knowledge as we make it happen.
So we went upstairs and talked through an idea around collaboration. And so how can we build a virtual space to collaborate in? And our idea was that we would have an industrial design team working out of Frankfurt and LA and Kathmandu building a water filtration system for a rural village.
So we went back to, immersive experience. Let's talk about food. So we wanted to create a meal guide to create a luau. So how do you prepare? What is the cultural significance? What are some of the collateral things like the singing, the dancing, the culture, the art, the history? We don't want to co-opt, we want to complement. And how do we understand another culture through this experience? So we wanted to create a virtual guide that tied in not only VR, but product through voice command. I need a lava rock in a half hour. Gee, I need a 200-pound pig, get it over here, right? And so we went through those steps to craft and design. How do you invite people? How do you curate a meal? How do you prepare a meal? And the most important function, how do you clean up, right? Is that good? Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Is there another table, aka table captain, who would like to share what they come up with and get some thoughts on that generally? Aha. Oh. The Facebook ringer.
Hi, I'm Kathy. Our table was working with how would you practice public speaking, especially if you have anxiety. And so we actually identified a lot of people have anxiety about different scenarios. So kind of letting people actually put in, is it a huge lecture hall? Is it actually sitting around your coworkers? Is it talking in front of your boss? So being able to kind of put in that and being very niche and specific.
Evan?
My biggest takeaway was that all of you actually picked ideas that are doable with technology that we have today or that we will have like very soon in the future. I mean, the wine tasting one you can do, the firefighting one, you could do a lot of that right now. So I was very, very impressed with all these ideas because you can do them right now.
One of the things that that came up in Charlie's talk was around this concept of how the brain learns and how and there's lots of decades of neuroscience on if you do things in the mind, like I'm a long time meditator, right? If you do it in the mind, it literally changes how you do it in real life. And so seeing that show up, I saw it show up in a bunch of, but like presentation was one of them, right? How much more effective you are when you have the chance to act it out and be successful in the box. And then when you get out of the box and actually have to talk to people, that you're literally your brain thinks you've done this already and you're there. So just it can change everything. It's super interesting to me.
this is the other thing that we wanted to try with this, is that we're always looking for formats in ways that we can continue to provide very public community based education to whether you're alumni in our program or just people who are connected to the subject matter. We want to be in touch with you and provide this to you. And so we think this is actually might be a good model moving forward. So we hope to do more of this in the future. And obviously we'd like to invite you, whether it's related to content strategy, storytelling, or something else that's in our field. And so we hope that we can be in collaboration with you and hear back from you in terms of what you'd like to see. I did just tweet something on the hashtag Beyond Screen that is a URL link to our website that just mentioned this particular event, and we'll flesh out a bit more. But if you feel that you want to actually claim this as a little bit of education on your LinkedIn profile, go ahead and go under education in your profile. This, choose the University of Washington as your education, and then put attended masterclass in the future of content strategy and virtual reality, and use the link that I provided, and that should provide you with a decent thumbnail as a badge for having attended this, because I think we have to be all in a state of lifelong learning, frankly, with all these things that are happening right now during this incredible transition time. And so the more that we can educate ourselves in these kinds of fora, or if you have to do formal education, that's fine too. But we have to go back to school, all of us. And you guys did all that today. And I'm deeply appreciative of how much you brought your trust in what we were doing and your credibility and your expertise to making this happen. So thank you very much. I want to end it a little bit early because it is warm, but I suspect we'll all hang out here for a few more minutes if you just want to interact amongst yourselves or with our folks up here on the stage. And have a great rest of your Saturday. Stay cool, and I hope to see a lot of you again soon. Thank you.